Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Guys, if you are new here, welcome. I hope you get to click that subscribe button and I hope you get to like and share our videos. To you, my returning subscribers, welcome back, family. Welcome back, guys. It's so good to see you again. Guys, in this channel, for those that don't know, in this channel, I share my parenting journey, the life with my kids. I am a single mom. I'm raising two toddlers, right? So in today's video, I'm just going to share how I avoid raising spoiled kids. You know how single parents always want to overcompensate for the time they are not present, how they want to overcompensate for the other parent not being present, and you know. So basically we end up spoiling our kids. Sometimes it's intentionally, sometimes it's unintentionally. So I have 5-6 points that I'm always mindful of while I'm raising my kids. So let's delve onto it. I have my notes just in case I forgot some things, just for the sake of referencing. So point number one, how I avoid to raise spoiled kids. I do not entertain tantrums. I do not entertain tantrums. I know sometimes they will, especially Uzande, now she's 2, so terrible twos are upon us, like real, for real, for real. So sometimes Uzande will act as if it's the end of the world. She will throw herself on the floor. She will scream. She will go on. And especially when we're at the shops. So much that we are well known at Checkers, the local supermarket that we normally go to. Checkers and Pick n Pay, we are well known because of Zande's and like his tantrums sometimes. So sometimes she will throw a tantrum because she wants a toy and I'm not buying it, or she wants whatever, a candy, and I'm not buying it. So I don't entertain tantrums. If we are at the shops, I simply move away from that aisle and I notify her that I'm going to leave you here. If you're not putting yourself together, I'm going to leave you here. If no response, and then I will swiftly move away from that aisle. What I've noticed is the minute I move away from that aisle, I'm taking away the power of giving. That's my phone. The minute I move away from that aisle that we were in, where she started throwing tantrums, or even like at times, I'm taking away the power of saying to her or him that I have your full attention, you can go on, you know. And then immediately in her mind, I think she starts thinking that mommy is leaving, you know, and then immediately I will see her walking down or crying and coming to reach me. And then if we are at home, I simply look away or I shift my attention into doing something else so that she or he can realize that what she's doing or what he's doing, I am against it. And they know the minute I don't pay attention, they start coming down and they start saying, Mama, you know, it's those kind of things that they're now acting as if they are not taken care of, or they just want to be cuddled, whatever the case is. But the actual tantrum that they were doing subsides, right? So I do not entertain tantrums. Rather, I let the person just cry. I just let them cry, and then when they are all settled, I will then speak to them and say, or to, especially like with Uzande, it's still a bit tricky to sit her down and tell her that I don't like what she did. With Ulike, it's much better because I can actually sit Ulike down and say, I don't like what you did. When you want something, this is what you do. Or if we have discussed that this is what we're going to buy, we're going to just simply buy that. So it was quite a challenge at the beginning, but Ulike is slowly and gradually grasping it. And he now says, Mama, what are we going to buy? Then I make a list and I mention to him what we're going to buy. And then when we get to the shop, that's exactly what he looks for. Sometimes he will deviate a bit, but come back to what we were going to buy in the first place. And I always constantly have to remind him, remember, we said we're going to buy milk, we're going to buy fruit for school, we're going to buy nappies, whatever the case is, because we normally go to the shops at least once every week for the weekly supplies. Point 2 is I enforce discipline. I constantly remind them who's at authority, and I make sure that they follow the rules, you know. You know how easily it is for kids that are constantly being pampered to just not follow instructions, to just not obey the rules and do as they please. I don't want to raise unruly kids because eventually that's going to make life very difficult for me also. So what I do is I communicate what I expect to be done. I model what I expect to be done. For example, if it's time to pick up toys, we pick up toys. If it's time to brush your teeth, they brush their teeth. I also make sure that as much as I'm modeling it, I'm also saying it verbally so that it gets registered in their brains that it's time to do this now. It's time to do this now. If you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. I also have age-appropriate discipline methods that I use. Sometimes I just make sure that there is no screen time for whoever is guilty or deserves the punishment. So much that I've realized now between the two of them, they will have their small conversation and I will listen. And like I would say, Zande, if you don't do that, Mama is gonna so, and then they start doing whatever it is that I expected them to do. And sometimes I will hear Uzande said, "Valumlomo," like otherwise I'm gonna switch off the TV, and then that's how things goes. So for me, that's more like they now understand what is expected. They now, even if we're not watching TV, sometimes Uzande will say that because now it's within their mindset that if we don't behave, there's a consequence for every and any action that we do. Right. Point number 3: I assign age-appropriate chores. Believe it or not, abantwana bam, they have chores. Ulake knows that it's his duty to take out the plastic that we use as a bin in the house in the evening or in the morning before he goes to school. Uzande knows that tidying up toys after play. Uzande knows that when she spills something on the floor, she needs to clean that up. I know sometimes it's not 100% done, but that's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for, I'm looking at knowing that they are aware what is expected of them. I'm assigning the chores to them so that I'm kind of fostering a responsibility, some form of responsibility from them, just so that they just basically know what is expected of them and just do what is expected of them. Sometimes it's smooth sailing, sometimes it's not easy. But again, consistency, because I don't assign chores today and tomorrow I don't. And today somebody has chores, tomorrow they don't. So every day it's one chore or two, whatever chores that assigned to that person. It's one similar thing every day, So, and also I model that as well so that they see it's expected, it needs to be done, and it's done this way. This is the proper way of doing it. Getting Uzande to get a mop to just mop off whatever it is that she spilled. Sometimes it gets even more messy, but the point is she understands that she needs to clean. As she grows up, she's gonna be able to handle a mop or to handle whatever it is that we use to clean the floor, and she's gonna understand how to wipe it off and how to clean off. Versus Ulake at this point, he can clean up whatever it is that he has messed, whether with a toilet paper or with a mop or just a piece of cloth that we use as a floor scrub. Lake can tidy up and clean it properly. So Ulake is now 4 years. So Uzande is only 2. So I can't expect Uzande to do things 100%. Also Ulake as well, I can't expect him to do things 100%, but at least the way he does things versus to how Uzande cleans is totally different. There's a bit of a difference in terms of age and understanding what is expected. So give your kids chores. Don't do everything. Some of the things that you feel they can do, obviously age appropriate, let them do it. Don't also expect 100%. The effort counts more than anything, right? I also encourage my kids to be very independent. I know at this age, they are toddlers. So one will ask, how can you expect a toddler to be independent at an age where they're supposed to be dependent? Well, there are things that they can be dependent on. There are things that I feel they can be independent on. For example, at this age, like Nozand, both of them, they can feed themselves. So I expect them to feed themselves. Like we sit on the table, I expect them to eat without me having to intervene. Ulake can go to the loo without my assistance. So I expect him to do that. And then when he's done his business, then he will call me to come and clean him off. If it was just a wee or a pee, then he will just easily wipe off the seat. Obviously, he can't flush at this point, so because we're using the button one, so it's a bit tricky for him to press on. So he just wheezes and wipe the toilet seat with a tissue, and then he will call me to say, Mama, I'm finished. Then I need to go and just make sure that it's well wiped off, and then I flush. So those basic things that they can do, it's their duty. They need to do it so that they don't depend on me. For example, Uzande can now get in the car. So why must she wait for me? If I open the door or Ulake opens the door for her, she can simply get in the car, and then I'll just have to make sure that she's well buckled up and comfortable for the road, whatever the trip that we're taking. So I fostered them to be very independent. At some point, there was a time where Ulake would say, Mama, I want pizza. I normally buy them the frozen pizzas so that it's just microwave or oven, then it's ready to eat. So Ulake will be like, Mama, I want pizza. And he will wait on me to go and get the pizza. Now he's 4. So go and open the freezer. You know where the pizza is. Open the freezer, take the pizza out, wait for me to put it on the microwave or on the oven for you. When it's ready, I'll come back and I'll make sure that you're ready to get it. You know, this is also to ensure that at the times where I am sick or I'm not around to do things for them, they know that the level of independency has already been built within them. Okay, so independency. The 5th thing that I do to ensure that I am not raising spoiled kids, I do not bribe my kids for activities or responsibilities that they need to do. If it's Lucky's duty to make sure that the toys are tidy up, I don't say, Lucky, make sure you tidy up, I'm going to give you a candy. If it's dinner time and they did not have a heavy snack during just before dinner or during whatever snacking time we had, I expect them to eat. I don't say, like eat, you're going to get a candy, like eat, you're going to get that. No. Whatever it is that they're supposed to do, they do. If they don't do, they face the consequences. If it's supper time and they're not eating, then I'm going to have to assist in feeding them. If it's time to tidy up and then they are not tidying up, I'm going to expect them to tidy up. And therefore, a consequence of not tidying up will be you're not playing with your toys the next time. Or you're not going to get all the toys that you want the next time. Whatever the case is. But I do not bribe them. What I normally do sometimes, I will just give them a high five to appreciate the effort and the cooperation. Uzande knows, and she does it very well. If I've asked her to do something, she will go and put whatever it is that I've asked her to do, and she will come back and say, Mama, finish, and then I give her a high five. If I don't give her a high five, she's going to stand in front of me with her high five up. So eventually, I'm going to realize that, I haven't acknowledged Zande's effort. Then I'm going to do a high five, and then we move on. So it's just a matter of acknowledging the effort, but I do not bribe. Because that bribing the kids now creates an expectation that I need to do this because I'm going to get that. When that bribe is no longer there, you're going to have an unruly child because you don't have a bribe. You understand? So just make sure or try by all means possible not to bribe, but encourage and acknowledge the effort and cooperation. Point number 6. Sometimes I intentionally disappoint them. I know this sounds very malicious as a mom, but yeah, I intentionally disappoint them simply because I am trying to prepare them for the world out there. Reality is you trust people with your things, you trust people with your heart, you trust people with whatever it is, and disappointments you will get, and it's going to be the end of the world for you or for them because they were not trained or coached. So I disappoint them intentionally, just so that they can understand that life is full of upside downs. For example, they know because they have phones, right? Both of them have phones. They only use their phones. Those phones don't have SIM cards, by the way. It's only YouTube purposes and games. They only use the phones on weekends, which is from Friday afternoon up to Sunday by bedtime. So during the course of the week, Monday to Thursday, those phones are off there in the shelf, right? And then on Fridays, before I go to work, I need to make sure I charge those phones so that when we come back in the afternoon, they are ready for use, right? Sometimes I simply just don't charge those phones intentionally. And I will come back and I'll say, oh, the phones are not charged. You can see the disappointment in their face. But now also, like is becoming very smart. He will say, it's not charged. Can I rather use your laptop? You know, that's what I'm fostering, so that if this doesn't work, they need to think of alternatives. So like I will say, it's not charged, can I use the laptop? Mama, it's not charged, can I watch the TV? Those kind of things. And then, or sometimes they know that Fridays are takeaway days. So I normally ask them, what do you guys want to have? Do you want to have burger? Do you want to have fish? Do you want to have KFC? Whatever the case is. And then they get to decide what they want. Sometimes I ask no questions and I just keep it moving. Then we will come home and then we will have a prepared cooked meal. And they know it's Friday. And then you can see the puzzle in their face because they have their phones, but now they are eating a cooked meal. So I'm like, we're doing it this way. So sometimes it's just to ensure that I get them ready for the real world out there, because in honest truth, there is no one that will nurture and care for my kids more than I do as their mom. No one. Yes, people will come, but they will have certain limits or certain, they will only nurture them up to such an extent. No one will do as I do. So if I don't prepare them for the real world out there, then they're going to get a shock of their life when things are starting to get all messed up. Okay, the last one, but not least, I teach them gratitude. I teach them to say thank you. Whenever they get something from someone, make sure they say thank you. So much that sometimes if it's from me and they don't say thank you, I take it back. They know. And usually I used to say, what are you supposed to say? And then they will say thank you. Sometimes they forget, sometimes they remember, but also remembering that at this age, I am more of a coach more than a mentor for them. So I need to ensure that everything I do, I'm consistent in doing it. It doesn't fluctuate. It doesn't change. It's consistent so that it's easy for them to remember. So I honestly make sure and always intentionally make sure that they say thank you. Even if they get a candy from a stranger, they say thank you. And, you know, they get very moody sometimes, but I foster them to say thank you. Say thank you, or you're not going to get it. So basically, those are the 7-8 points that I make sure that I don't raise spoiled kids. I don't want to have spoiled kids. I don't want to have spoiled kids. Spoiled brats are not easy. I've experienced having spoiled brats while I was still a babysitter for certain people. It's not nice. It's not nice. I don't wanna have spoiled brats. Yeah, that is it from me to you. It's Tooodles.